go to church, you're ready to go to the first day of school. Are you ready for the concert? Are you ready to speak? No, but you gotta get ready. In fact, I thought for years, my daughter's middle name was, "Are you ready?" Because all it was, "Lori, are you ready? Lori, are you ready?" We're gonna talk about tonight is getting ready for the most important transition from one place to another that we're all going to experience. The transition from this world to the next. So it's an important topic. We'll talk a little bit about where it got the title, and we'll talk a little bit about what's in the book. So let me, there's an old man in hospice care at home, getting ready for that transition. He's in bed. All of a sudden he smells beautiful aroma coming from the kitchen. His wife's cooking. So he staggers out of bed, gets up on it, and looks into the kitchen. Sure enough, his wife's baking his favorite chocolate chip cookies. Oh, the aroma is so good. And all of a sudden he sees a plate, freshly baked cookies. Goes over there, starts to reach for it. And as he reaches for it, wife turns around, slaps his hand, says, "Don't touch those. They're for the funeral." How many times have your mother slapped your hand when you wanted something really good out of the kitchen? You know, there was another man in a hospital that also ready for that transition. All of a sudden he saw some figures standing around his bed. Oh man, I recognize these guys. They look like my high school buddies. He said, "Hey, thanks for coming. Came to cheer me up. What a great deal." One of them reached down and took his hand and said, "You know us all right. We were born with you. I'm your hopes. These are your dreams. These are your gifts, your talents. And you never used them. And we didn't come to cheer you up. We came to die with you." See, ladies and gentlemen, that man in that hospital bed was me. I was getting ready to take all my hopes and dreams and talents and gifts at age 65 to my grave. Les Brown says it this way: the richest land on earth is not the gold mines, not the oil fields. It's the cemeteries, because therein lies the hopes and dreams, talents and gifts of men and women who never used them, and they took them to the grave with them. You know how this is true in my own situation. My dad, at the age of 55, on a cold October morning, October 31st, 1950, backing his car out of the driveway, has a massive heart attack. He's gone. There was no goodbyes. There was no "I love you." There was no "take care of mom." Just gone. Left us with debt. He's a quiet soul, born in Armenia, migrated to America, got married, had 3 children, made no lasting contribution to the community or the world. He just lived and then died. He's gone. So that's, when I talked about that being me in a hospital bed, I'm gonna take this off because it's not too bright. December 1999. Anybody remember what was happening in December of 1999? Y2K. Exactly. The world was in a state of panic. But computers weren't going to work. Airplanes couldn't fly. You had to get ready. So are you ready? Wow. Why? Because there was going to be a transition from what we knew in the last millennium to the new millennium. How funny does that seem now that it's 20 years later and we're celebrating the start of a new decade? But I was in a hospital bed in December. It's a month I'll never forget. It was even a blessing that I could be in that hospital room in December, because in October 1999, I had a 5 bypass heart surgery. That was the good news. Bad news was that in 30 days, 4 of the 5 grafts collapsed, and all the blood was going through the old arteries. Doctor said, well, it'll take about a year. If you can live another year, we can do it again. But it's too serious to do it again this soon. You may not make it. You end up bleeding to death. Pretty serious stuff. So, go home, waiting. Thanksgiving comes around, and God sends an angel in the form of a lady and her son that we invited to come to Thanksgiving dinner with us. She was a single mom in another country, so she came over for Thanksgiving. I told her the story of what happened, and she said, would you like a second opinion if I could get you into UCLA Medical Center? Where did that come from? Wow. I said, sure. So we made that appointment, excuse me. We made the appointment. Doctors did some more exams. Came back. Arsen, we can do the surgery. Dangerous. No guarantee. But there's no openings right now in the hospital. Hospital's full, there's no room in the operating room. So I said, well, that's okay. See, my daughter's getting married December 18th in Palm Springs. I says, maybe we get through that, we can talk about it. God had other plans. By December 15th, I'd had another mild heart attack. I'm laying to bed at UCLA Medical Center. Surgery is now set for the 22nd of December, my 65th birthday. What a birthday gift. My great birthday present. I get the gift of life. This guy's giving me back. But yes, I miss Lori's wedding. My only daughter. Her brothers walked her down the aisle as I listened on the cell phone. Did the best we could. A few days later, I called the pastor that did the wedding. David, I want to thank you very much for doing the wedding. I understand it was great. Sorry I wasn't there. He said, oh, Arsen, no problem. I said, David, you know, I'm having surgery tomorrow morning. Kind of dangerous. I said, would you pray for me? Power in prayer. Especially from a great guy like David. David says, Arsen, I'm happy to pray for you. But the reality is, I'm just as close to dying as you are. What, David, you're 38 years old. What are you talking about? You have cancer? What's the problem? He says, no, Arsen, you have to understand. Everybody is a heartbeat away from meeting Jesus. You're just more aware of it because of what you're facing tomorrow. Now, have you ever had somebody say something that kind of stuck in the back of your head, a phrase? Well, a heartbeat away from meeting Jesus but something just kind of stuck in the back of my mind. It was 15 years later, I'm at a memorial service here in Fresno for a Christian leader, age 52. Died of a massive heart attack playing volleyball with this girl. I'm sitting at the memorial service, 1,200 people. Huge service. So as I sat there, I looked around and I thought, how many more people? This is their last day on earth. And they don't know it. And they're not ready. A heart beat away. Are you ready? David, now I know why I can't remember. Can't get that out of my mind. I thought, well, you ever write a book on this subject? Well, not having a lot of confidence, I thought, well, what do I have in my experience? What do I know to talk about such a profound subject like that? So I prayed about it and thought about it. I finally convinced myself that, yeah, my life's experience would give me enough information to get started to be able to put that book together. So I did some research. I read Lee Strobel, Randy Alcorn, David Jeremiah. Read a lot of different books. Read a lot of stories about people who died in accidents, were gone. Followed some friends. Dear friend of ours, Lou Jansen, followed her battle with cancer and how she died. So I captured all those things and put it in the book. It took 3 years. In 3 years to put that thing together. And when I thought, boy, I got a manuscript. I got something here now. I'm ready to publish it. And then through a series of events, the book ended up in a publisher's office called Morgan James Publishing. And they have a faith division, and they do 25 faith books a year that they publish. So they read the manuscript, came back and said, we like it, we want to publish it. I thought, man, life's good. This is really good. They didn't tell me they wanted $5,000 to do it, but they said that they wanted to publish the book. Well, it took another year. In April 3rd, 2018, a heartbeat away, became a reality. So that's how we got the title. That's how the book came to be. Now, let me ask you a question. Is it okay if I give you a little bit about my background and how I came to know the Lord? Give you a little bit about my testimony. Is it okay if I do that? I get your permission to do that. Because it's very long. You'll have a long go to sleep before I get finished with this. As a kid, I had no spiritual upbringing. We went to the Armenian church. Went with my mom whenever she had a chance to go, because she didn't drive. My dad had no interest in it. So we were religious. We were going to church. CE Christian. So I thought it was okay. But then started into junior high school. And I was a little rebellious. And in fact, I was a real small-time hoodlum. We were out doing things we weren't supposed to be doing. A good friend over here, Phil Garrow, can tell you, because we've been going to school together, known each other from grammar school. He knows that time. So anyway, go through now. About the time my dad passed away, 1950, I'm about 15 years old. Mom doesn't drive. I get a driver's license, permit. Now, do you know what the status of a 15-year-old does when he says a car? Man, Everybody liked me. It was great. So one guy said, Arsen, I want you to come to church with me. Sure. The First Methodist Church. So now I got to go home and tell my mom I want to go to the Methodist Church. Not actually an Orthodox setting. But she said, do they teach God? My buddy said, yeah. She said, okay, you can go. Good. So it's my kind of church, boy. Sunday evening, we play basketball for an hour and a half. The ladies, they all cook a beautiful meal, nice warm meal. And of course, there were plenty of girls. So what else do the teenage boys eat in church? Sports, food, girls. Great. So that went on for a while, and then one summer, we're going to have a church camp, summer camp, the Methodist Redwood Camp in Santa Cruz Mountains. So I go. My friends are going, I go. We get there, same kind of church, sports, a lot of activities, great food, girls. Well, there was one cute little girl that I took a liking to. She didn't want anything to do with me. She was a year older. She was from Bakersfield High School. Didn't want anything to do with the little skinny guy from Fresno High. But I was persistent. She wasn't going to get away. She went to an activity. I was there. I didn't care what it was. I was there. For about 2 weeks of camping, last weekend, she said, Arsen, would you like to go with me on a candlelight sunset walk up the mountain? I said, wow. She says, really working out. She's asking me to go. But I didn't realize there was a greater wow coming. So we went up the mountain, heard a man talk. And for the first time, at age 16, I heard a man talk about Jesus. And I learned for the first time, not just heard about him, but I learned who he was and what he did and why it was important. So we bowed our heads. Right. It's over. I lifted up my head. No lightning bolts, nothing, just a little peace and calm. She prayed. We walked off that mountain, hand in hand. Walked all the way back to camp. It was really great. See, that night I made 2 lifelong friends. One, a cute little blonde girl from Bakersfield called Vita. The other, a man called Jesus the Christ. Now, back in high school, see, sometimes when those things happen, you don't realize it, especially at 16. But all of a sudden, I start to win races. I was a distance runner. I'm a skinny little nothing, 116 pounds. I have that now. But anyways, 116 pounds. I start winning races. I start setting school records. See, Jesus came off that mountain with me and was guiding my steps. Boy, I didn't know it. I was still going to church, still praying. I got a scholarship to Fresno State, which I've never got. There's no way we were ever going to get an college education. But I got a college education, went to Fresno State, graduated with a physical education degree, California secondary teacher credential. I was set. Couldn't get a job in Fresno. So I took a job out of town, Camarillo State Hospital. But what happened was I broke that fellowship and that connection with the church and the spiritual. So it was gone. I lost that fellowship with my friend. So now come back, it's December 1st, another December 1st, 1950, 8. I come back, I got a job at the city of Fresno. I was a sports supervisor for the city. It was great. During that year also, I met a pretty little redhead Armenian girl. We got married, what was it, July? July 1959. I know the date. We had 3 great children. Life was good. I was climbing up the ranks of the city. I was a deputy city manager. I was doing really great. I was involved in the community. We were going to Holy Trinity Church once in a while. Doing a lot of that. 1972. Automobile accident. Gets my attention. God does strange things all the time. See, I was parked beside this road, bent over inside the trunk of the car, getting some belongings from my mother-in-law, when all of a sudden, I felt a little breeze on my pant leg. A drunk lady hit the left side of my car that I was not bent over in. Here's the account of a witness. We saw this drunk lady come out of a driveway at a high rate of speed. She was driving right down the curb line. We knew this young man didn't see her. So this lady said, I bowed my head. I said a prayer. On the side of the cross. Heard the impact. He was still standing. It was a miracle. It's the only way to explain it. How did that car at 50, 60 miles an hour miss me? Well, God got my attention. So now I'm a little more excited to go back to church. So now I'm going and I'm volunteering. We're doing different things. Life is growing. We're doing well. Became the youth director at the church. Became finally the chairman of the board of trustees. Life seemed to be going along pretty smooth. 2 years later, we started having a little issues in our marriage. Then I made the biggest mistake of my life. I got involved and had an affair with a widow from the church. So you can imagine the turmoil that occurred there. And you can imagine the separation that happened with my friend Jesus and me. Well, for the next 10 years or so, till November of 1985, my life was hell. I lost everything. I lost my family. I had 3 children, lost my job, had no career. I mean, God doesn't like divorce. He's not kidding. It's not a good thing. So, 1985. In 1984, December of 84, the lady I had an affair with, we got married, had an annulment, didn't work out. She got cancer and died within a few months. It was tough, but we didn't know what to say, what to do. I didn't know where to find it, where to read it. I knew Jesus, but I didn't know the Bible. So let me encourage you, if you've never read God's Word, read it. Read it for yourself. Don't let somebody else interpret it. See, now November of 85, through strange events, was it a speaker of a luncheon, and a man said, anybody want to rededicate their life to Christ or give their life to Christ? Bow your head. Boy, I'm in the position. Rededicated my life. God came back into my life. 1985. Life's been up and down since that time. One of the good things was, Queenie and I started to date again. She got saved. I thought, man, this is going to be great. Maybe we can even put the marriage and the family back together. But it didn't work out that way. 1989, so I don't last long. 1989, I take a job in New England. Sales and marketing director for a large insurance company. Now I sell everything I have in Fresno, move everything. Community I've been with for 50 years. Now I go back to New England. Know Jesus, got a great job, little social life, but no spiritual life. I break the fellowship again. I'm really a slow learner at this. Well, in time, I met a lady, and we got married. November of '93, around Thanksgiving. That lasted till February 2001. 2001, I came back to Fresno. Got reconnected with some of my friends at CBMC ministry. Got involved in the church. I wish I could say it's been smooth sailing since that time, but it hasn't been. It's been up and down. But I tell you now, I'm going to church at the well with my grandkids, which has been a great experience. I love going there, singing with them. I can't sing, but I make a joyful noise. And hang out with them. It's been a Bible study, a different program, regrowing in my faith. Brought me to writing the book and getting into that. One of the things I want to do with the book is to spread the gospel. Because that's God called us to do that. Right? Spread His word. I've not been very good at that. So this book, I'm hoping people will take it and share it, maybe with non-believers, and do that with it. Now, what is this thing called salvation? What is this thing we're praying about? What is it we're doing? You know, God made it pretty simple. He said, "For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whomever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." That's pretty simple. You know who said those words? It's in the Bible, most quoted verse in the Bible. That came from Jesus Himself. It was during a meeting in the evening with one of the Sanhedrin, a man by the name of Nicodemus. The conversation, and Nicodemus is trying to search and find out what it's all about. What about salvation? That's John 3, verses 2 to 21. It's a great passage. Great story. I love this story of Nicodemus. See, but man is complicated. The whole salvation process. We want to make it a religion. It's not a religion. See, I've been fortunate to have connection with a lot of denominations over my life. The Apostolic Church, the Methodist Church, Charismatic Church. I was baptized at EV Free October 4th, 1987. I was baptized in the Holy Trinity Church when I was a baby. I was slain in the Spirit. The Charismatic Church in Nashville, I got it covered. Whether you're sprinkled, dunked, or blessed, I got it covered. But why? What's this thing called sin? Is it just breaking God's moral laws and the Ten Commandments, or living your life like there's no God? No. See, God wanted everyone to come to Him, everyone to be saved. but not all will. But that's what he wants to do. But see, what happens is that God cannot be in the presence of sin. So it begs the question, what is sin? Sin was started when we were born. See, we were born with this. It's not something you do, even though I've done plenty of it. But you're born with it. So in order to be in the presence of a holy God, somebody had to pay the price and the penalty for your sin. That was why God sent his son, Jesus, to pay the penalty for all of our sin. So that's why that's important. See, God wants all of us to be saved. See, and all means all. That's all means. But it's a personal thing. It's not a collective thing. You can't get saved by going to a church. And you get saved through a pew. You got saved through a prayer. That's what happened. Now let's talk about, we talked about relationships. I want to move this along. It's been a little too long already. The book talks about relationships. It's very, very important. Well, let me ask you a quick question. What causes relationships to break up? You're in a relationship, but what happens? Why do they go sideways? A couple things I think about is jealousy, lost trust, anger, envy, greed. Those are the things that get in the way and cause us to break a fellowship and friendship with one another. Lifelong friend. You know, I had a friend that I hadn't spoken to me for over 12 years. But I didn't know why, but I called her. And I said, I want you to forgive me, and I don't even know why. What I did or said, but it's not important. I just want you to forgive me. We've been friends for 50 years. She laughed and she said, Arsen, I forgive you. We went out and talked for about an hour. Friendship's been restored. It was the greatest feeling to go through that. But you have to either accept forgiveness, give forgiveness, but don't hang on to the pain. There's three options. You can hang on to the pain, or you can accept forgiveness, or give forgiveness, and restore that relationship. The other chapter in the book it's in the financing.